We are live.
All right.
Ayo, ayo.
Welcome to the pilot or first episode of your Everyday Rich podcast.
Yeah, we are really excited to finally do this
Finally, I
and
know.
record this. It's been a long time in the making. My name's Jason.
And I'm Jen.
We are married couple. God, geez.
Since 2013,
It's a
two
long
young
time.
boys.
2 young kids. And we started this. We're the whole point of starting this podcast is actually to hopefully empower you to take control of your finances so that you can live your everyday rich. And your everyday rich is really like another way of saying is like living life on your own terms.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is talking about topics around money and finances that nobody likes to talk about. They're very uncomfortable conversations.
Yep. And we're trying to bring you, and we have these conversations in our home. We're trying to bring you, our audience, into our conversations that we're having, whether it's with each other or with people that we know, whether it's new friends, old friends, relatives, family, whatever that is, to bring these conversations to you so that what we're learning, what we're talking about with other people, you guys can hear it too.
Yeah, it gets shared with you. So because here's the thing, right? Like if you think about your upbringing in your childhood, like give some context here. Like both Jen and I are raised by immigrant Chinese parents, right? In the Asian Oriental culture, right? Like I'm born in Canada. Like I'm a Chinese born Canadian CBC. Jen was born in Hong Kong and immigrated here when she was
Four.
4. So like the commonality is immigrant parents, right? Baby boomers. And we don't have those conversations in our household. It's not a thing. Let me
That's
tell you,
right.
like talking about money is taboo for some reason. That might be the case for you guys. And we
I think it's a
want,
case for a lot of not just, our family or our culture, but it's taboo for, I guess, society in general.
yeah. And it's strange why it is because like we live in a world that's coin operated, that it involves money. Like money touches us every day. It's not the most important thing. Let me get this straight with you. It's not the most important thing, but it is critical to be able to navigate this understanding. Like
100%. And we
so
think about it, I actually had this conversation with a friend the other day, and she was trying to figure out how to remove her mutual funds from her RSPs or change them up because she knew she wants to like reduce the amount of management fees that she was paying. And she was like, I don't know who to ask. Like the only financial advisor out there that she could think of was the bank. And what's the bank going to do?
yeah, the bank is there to sell you products to
That
make
make money,
to make
which is
them
more
profit.
mutual funds, right? So that's like, the reason why, one of the reasons why we want to start this podcast is there's just so many things out there. We don't know what you don't know, right? The education system, unfortunately, doesn't teach financial literacy. We were never taught. So really, the only information that we have is what we learned, obviously from our upbringing, and then potentially what you have Googled or YouTubed, right? That you could find, right? So having this kind of forum, being able to share what people are doing, share what people have done, where they've found success in, where they've maybe not found success in. Hopefully, that provides you with some insight and us ourselves, because
Yeah,
we're constantly learning as well, right?
we don't know all the answers, man. Like
And just having that insight to help our listeners take that one step, whatever it is that gets them to where they want to be from a finance point of view. And I do want to point out, there's a reason why we call this podcast Everyday Rich. It's not, you know, let's try to find ways to get $1 billion into our account. That's not the point, right? When I think of the term your everyday rich, it's defining what and how you want to live every day, right? And what, from a finance point of view, can help you live how you want to live every day.
Yeah, yeah, to uncover and really like talk about these tools and methods because they're out there. Like they are out there. It's just uncovering them so that you're aware. Because a few years ago, there are certain things about investing in financial elements that we were not privy to. Like you kind of know about it, but you're like, nah, that doesn't work, right? And once we kind of got exposed to it, you're like, oh crap, it actually does.
Or I
It,
didn't even know about that.
you didn't even know about it, right?
I could have done this 5 years ago. I could have 10
Yeah.
years ago, and shoulda, woulda, coulda. But it's never too late to start.
Yeah, yeah. It's just very clear. It is never too late. So if you are listening, no matter what age you are, like here's the theme that we've talked about where like milestones, right? We are going through life always following milestones. And it's just like a business. Your life is almost like a business, right? You have milestones where, we were growing up, we were taught, or society tells you that you go to school, graduate, get another, go to school again, university or college, because apparently you need even more education. And then you graduate, then you get a job, you get married, you have kids, or maybe you don't have kids.
Whatever it is.
And then you buy the house, you buy the car, you do this, you work for 30 years, and then you retire. And you're like, the fuck? Is that
Yeah.
is that really it?
And I think, we've always been
Conscious, money
money
conscious. Yeah,
conscious
yeah.
people. And, I think our view on money has changed over time. When I think about your everyday rich, it evolves,
Yeah.
right? When you're in I can remember, you know, I used to work at Zellers as a teenager.
Shout out to Zellers, man.
Zellers making a comeback soon, I think, from what
Yeah.
I've heard. But anyways, I think about when I was maybe 15 or 16 when I worked at Zellers, my everyday rich at that moment in time was getting that couple $100 in the bank account, right? Working my 8-hour shift minimum wage and being able to buy this 555 Soul sweater. If you know what 555 Soul is, the brand, you know what era I grew up in. But that's kind of like, that was what my everyday rich was at 16, right? And when I think about what was your everyday rich when you're in university, okay, having a great student life, partying with your friends, hanging out with your friends, being able to go out with your friends. That was like your
Yeah.
entire life in,
Yeah.
in college, university,
And
right?
it changes as you
And it
get
changes
older.
over time when you're starting your career, right? Your everyday rich is being proud of your job, making more money, getting that promotion, maybe, being proud of what you're doing at work, right? And that's where it evolves over time. Over time, maybe that's not good enough. Maybe you want something else out of it. Maybe you want more. Maybe you want a different lifestyle, right? So as your everyday rich evolves, you have to also be learning the things and the tools that you need so that you can live that everyday rich at that time.
Yeah, it's like, do you remember how this whole like the genesis of how we started this conversation and
Oh man.
how we, the thing about it is like once you realize like your mindset shifts, right? And there are a few books here that we put here we'll talk about in future episodes about like mindset. And the mindset really shifts once you realize and put things into perspective and you look at it differently. Like you want to tell the story about like how we were sitting down that one day and like
Yeah, so, we're working professionals, and as you start working, one of the things that you start thinking about is, when do I stop working?
yeah, retirement, right? Like,
Retirement, because you know, that's kind of the first. A lot of ads and a lot of things you see on social media is, are you going to have enough money to retire? So of course, we
well,
did what society does, or society told us to do, is calculate, will we have enough money to retire?
and here's context for you guys, right? So our parents were kind of like on the verge of retiring. They might have been retired. I don't remember. It's been a while. So, but they were at that age where it was like it was close for them, right? And what did they understand about saving for
Yep.
retirement, right? Is like air quotes saving.
Hmm.
And when we grew up, the whole financial advice was save and invest so that you can have $1 million in the bank. but that doesn't account for inflation over 25, 30 years. Maybe it
Yeah,
did. I don't remember. But $1 million is not enough. Like, you cannot use old metrics.
it's really sad.
The
It's
the
crazy.
price today is not the price yesterday. So like that's a Fat Joe saying. So like, you have to be cognizant of these things because what you understand may not actually be right. So anyways, yeah, so we were going through that, and
Well, we're actually helping our parents
yeah,
navigate through retirement, right? And that's why we started to think about our own retirement. Will we have enough funds with the way inflation, with the way the world is evolving?
yeah,
Will we have enough funds to retire and live a lifestyle that we want to live?
yeah.
So, of course, me being me, I built a spreadsheet
Oh man,
because spreadsheets are awesome.
they
So I
are
built a
awesome. You're a
spreadsheet
nerd.
and calculated, every year we make this amount of money, every year I will save and invest this amount of money, and then extrapolated, okay, at 65, do we have enough? And before we can answer do we have enough, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, well, what kind of lifestyle am I living? What
Yeah.
am I doing in retirement? And that's where we got stuck. Are we going to be on a beach? Like, when you see an ad for retirement, whether it's an insurance
Oh my
company
goodness.
or like
Vacations, yeah.
whatever is when they're selling you the retirement life, the first picture you always see is a senior couple walking on the beach. That is the token picture, right? And every single thing you see retirement. And is that going to be us? We're going to be walking on the beach, together holding hands. And we were just questioning like what if it is, maybe it is, maybe it's us walking on the beach holding hand in hand. But why do I have to, if that makes us happy and if that is what we want, why am I waiting till 65 to do it?
Yeah, who created this artificial 65 number?
Yeah,
Like
who
freedom,
even thought of
freedom
65?
65.
Why is it not 40? Why is it not 45? Why is 65 the retirement age? And that's defined by society. Anyway, so what I think it got to the point where we were questioning, why are we waiting once we define the lifestyle that we want to live? Why are we waiting until 65 to do it? And that kind of started our head started turning and we started brainstorming, how can we find a way to get to this lifestyle that we so-called retirement
Yeah.
earlier? And what exactly are we doing? Are we
Yeah.
just sitting there? Like, what are we doing, right?
Yeah, like this it was like a question about, like, there's always that how, right? But what and who? Like, who do we need to talk to? What do we need to put in place? What do we need to do? And when you look at things like that versus like just kind of, on the hamster wheel every day, you realize that, your life can be completely different if you just change your perspective.
That's right.
And that, looking at that spreadsheet, as much as we joke about it, that gave us a lot of perspective, and seeing our parents go through that too. And like, let me tell you right now, for anyone listening that has baby boomer parents or parents that are retired, ask yourself, did are they living that typical retired lifestyle that you understand or think, like what society painted, walking on the beach, like, go straight up? Chinese parents are not walking on the beach right now. They do not want to be in the sun and getting sunspots on their face.
Chinese people don't like
We don't
sun.
like sun. Well, old Chinese people don't like sun, but
That's right.
but maybe that is your lifestyle. That is the
And
picture
that's
that you want to paint.
okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
But I think it's really important to define that lifestyle that you want to live, right? And I think our mindset is right now is let's get to that faster.
Yeah, no,
How can we get that faster? What can we do today, tomorrow, next week to get to that point faster?
yeah, and like we were mentioning earlier, right? Like, coin operated world. So you have to be cognizant about like how the world works with finances, because we are going to talk about evergreen topics about investing. Like, there are cool new tools that are out that they weren't 25 years ago when we started, like our savings account. Like, it's a savings account still exists, but should you be
It's always changing. I
it's
mean,
changing, it's
if you
evolving.
don't if you don't keep up with it, you're almost like losing out. Right? It's like technology, right? I mean, it's one of those things. There's always new products, new tools
Yeah,
to
and
learn.
if we kept going through that same thinking, is that maybe it might get you there, but this whole point is, how do we accelerate that, right? Because you know um things don't cost the same anymore, right? Like I said, that $1 million ain't the same anymore. Like,
Hmm.
tomorrow is going to be more expensive, and the next year and next year, like, Man, we're joking about like eating pho, like Vietnamese soup noodles, right? Like that's
It's supposed to be a cheaper meal.
street food. It's like Vietnamese street food, and then it costs $15 for that. Like that's ridiculous. But that's the reality. So you know, what do you need to do put in place so that that doesn't become a problem,
That's right.
right? I'm not saying that money isn't the issue. Like you can just wave your hand and just buy your way out, but having enough money gives you complete flexibility and options.
Well, it allows you to live the life whatever life that you want,
Yeah.
right?
And let me be straight up here, right? Like money doesn't buy you happiness.
No,
Well, they say it doesn't buy happiness, but you need to go drive a really nice sports car to experience
that's
that happiness. But all joking aside, no, it doesn't buy happiness, but it does give you options, right? To
right.
live your life
Options
the
and,
way you want.
and
And
opportunities.
our parents, everyone is chasing the same thing. We are all chasing the same dragon. That dragon is freedom. Freedom from uh, time, time freedom, geographical freedom. Maybe it's money freedom. I'm sure it is money freedom, right? Because nobody wants to worry about money. Um, so if you look at it that way, like that's exactly why, right? Like ask yourself why. So there are once you change your mindset and your perspective, it really opens up the world, right? And you discover these tools, and
Yeah.
we want to bring these tools to you because they're out there, and we want to do this differently. Like
This is kind of like you bringing you guys into our home because we are learning. We
yeah,
over the past couple years, we've learned through talking and having conversations with people who are doing things that have propelled their financial journey, right? And having insight on what other people are doing, I think it really helps to say, hey, that's pretty cool. Like that worked for them. How can it work for me? And if there's anything that you can take from this podcast is those things, right? If you hear someone doing something and hey, let's talk to that person. Let's see what they're doing. What have they succeeded at? What have they failed at? And how can I apply what they've learned and what they're doing into my life?
yeah, because like there, there are so many things out there like that you can do, and money is abundant. I want to make that very clear. Like growing up, the whole immigrant mentality, because of obviously post-war and the depression and all that stuff, like money did feel scarce because you never knew how you could get it.
That's
And
right.
once you made it, you want to keep it. But money is abundant. And once you kind of change your mindset about that scarcity and flip the switch, you can make infinite amount of money.
Makes a huge
Makes
difference.
a massive amount of difference once you put it that way. And I want you to think about that. If you have been raised by immigrant family, or maybe you have that mindset, right? I I want you to come along this journey with us so that you can unlock that. And once you do, the world opens up. So there, uh, we're very excited to talk about this because I don't think enough people talk about it. There's I guarantee you there are people hopefully that listen to this that were like, yeah, I actually never give it that thought, right? Like,
There's a lot of things we didn't give thought before either.
yeah, like, right?
Ourselves.
We are the MTV CD to MP3 generation, right? The 90s music was the best era in the world. Like, I don't care what you say,
It was.
90s is the best music. So that gives you a sense of kind of like where we are in our life, right? Our milestones. Um, you start thinking about it, right? Because it's important. It really is important to open up that can and
That's
be like,
right.
shit, what's inside, man?
If there's one thing you take from this pilot episode is to think about what your everyday rich is. And once you figure out what you can do to make that happen,
Yeah,
right? Don't wait till you're 65 because hey, you know what? Sad as it is, what if you don't get there,
it's
right?
unfortunate truth. Like a lot of people might not get there. We might not get there, but we want to make sure that we can. And that's the whole point, right? Of accelerating this journey, right? Taking control of your journey now, so that you can live those moments earlier,
That's
not
right.
later,
Don't
right?
wait till retirement.
Yeah, don't why you
So, anyways,
don't listen to the rest of the world when it's a 65.
that's right.
Yeah.
So, takeaway, figure out what your everyday rich looks like, and let's chat.
Yeah, like we hope you come along with our journey here. We're going to be bringing some guests that we think will add tremendous value to teach you, to teach us. We're just going to have these casual conversations. This ain't no interview style. Like I just hate those. There's too many, right? No offense to any of those ones, right? But um, like us, follow us. We're on Instagram at Your Everyday Rich, and let's
Let
get
us know and let us know what topics, like there's certain things that you want us to talk about or you're curious about, you know, let us know and we'll try to accommodate that in the podcast.
yeah. We'll put these things together, but like guys, like once we figure this all out, like you'll see. Like hopefully this will be just as exciting for you and eye opening as it was for us. So, uh,
All right.
is that it?
That's
Is
it.
this how we end?
This is how we end.
How we end podcasts?
Yep, that's it. Signing
All
off.
right. Peace.
See ya. Your Everyday Rich podcast is presented solely for general informational, educational, and entertainment purposes. Any such information or other material should not be construed as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a qualified professional.